For many people who have been to the US Embassy, we know there's one common question they like asking, and that is your travel history. And actually, it's part of the application, the DS-160, the application for temporary visas. There's a section where they'll ask, where have you been the last 5 years? And I think this is one of the areas that people probably know, but they don't want to put in the effort. And let me explain why briefly. To be quite honest, let's take, for example, for me, I've done interviews and I've also interviewed people. You have two candidates. One has the education plus the experience, and the other one has the education, the experience, but they've gone an extra mile to do certification exams. You can tell that the second person has put in an extra effort. And it's the same thing when it comes to America. The reason why, and I see in the comments sometimes people ask me, America is not everything. That just means that this is not for you. What it means is there are people who are really interested in gaining the US dollar and changing their lives. So there's a difference. It's not necessarily that they mean where they are is not good, but the opportunity of making that US dollar and changing your life is very, very important to some of us. And that's why we do these videos. So having said that, many people also want that US dollar. And so it becomes more competitive compared to 5 years ago, 10 years ago. If you can deal with that fact, it will make you understand why it's important for you to improve your resume. For example, they deny you a visa. You go back, but you want to go back immediately. Yes, I know it's tempting. But someone else is denied, but they go and build on themselves. For example, they were going for a conference, right? And they were denied a visa. They go ahead and look for a conference in a different country, a Schengen country, a European country, Europe, Canada, Australia, other African countries, right? Asia, South America, you name it. When they go back to the embassy, compared to someone who did not do anything, the person who went and did something and built their resume looks more serious. Put yourself in the same shoe of an interviewer. Whom will you consider? You understand? So the way I see it, if most people want to win gold, you have to aim for gold. You cannot aim for silver. You cannot aim for bronze. And that should be the same mindset. Another thing I feel is the patience. We are always thinking, I'll be the lucky one. I'll be the lucky one. I got a visa. I know someone who got a visa without travel history. It's true. But you don't know the total picture. You do not know what they saw on their application. You do not know their personality. But having said that, there's just one thing we know, that they take travel history more seriously. So be patient, or start building yourself your resume early instead of wasting your application going there and getting denied. Build yourself by traveling to other areas. And by traveling, I don't say you just go to a natural border that is close to your country. They know anyone can do that. Yes, do it, no problem. But travel, I'll just be honest. I've always told you, if you go to a Schengen country, European country, Google what Schengen countries mean. Your chances are higher. Someone who's been to America and went back home, their chances are very high if they did not break the law. Someone who's been to Europe, especially Schengen countries, and went back home and they have an active visa, is also a strong history. You understand? So try and aim for those countries first. Build yourself. Take your time. Just the same way someone will be preparing for exams, take it seriously. And just to do that, I'm just telling you to be ahead of the curve. For those who follow me, these are some of the strategies we need. These are some of the strategies we need to start accepting, and we start building on ourselves. Okay? Okay, so for some of you who are meeting me for the first time, you have an active visa and you don't know what else to do. Maybe you want to stay longer. janetrangi67@gmail.com. Okay? Do not overstay your visa. Okay, if you have more questions, again, I left my email, janetrangi67@gmail.com. Let's start building our resumes. Let's start planning for these things. Just the same way we plan for exams, let's try and start preparing for the embassy. And again, not just escaping somewhere and running here for 2 months, 3 months. You look like you've been making up this stuff. Take it seriously. Start saying, you know what, in 2026, I want to travel to America. And start planning. Can I go to UK? Can I go here? Start planning for that. Okay? And put it in your book. Put it, in your booklet. You understand? So that will serve you. By the way, that's what it takes to succeed. Always stand out of the crowd. Travel history is very, very important, whether we like it or not. No shortcuts, no running to the closest port of entry just to cut corners. Do some serious traveling, they will take you seriously. That is my opinion, okay? Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.